When people see the Matriarch, they see a synthesizer. Me, I see a universe of possibilities. All right, so why do I continue to use hardware synthesizers when there are VSTs and they sound pretty good? There was a video that was recorded 5 years ago where a guy made a song. He made it with VSTs and then he made it with hardware using the same MIDI information. So they play the same. And you really couldn't tell the difference. There was some difference, but it wasn't like one was better than the other. So now with modern day technology, computers and software, why do I continue to use the hardware? Yes, it is the sound, but I'm not saying sound as in it sounds so much better. I feel like when you're using hardware gear, synthesizers, drum machines, analog mixers, and compressors and stuff like that, and EQs, you are putting a signature sound on your beat. So I look at all my gear put together as one sound. I don't necessarily look at it as like individual things. So like in this example, in this beat, I combine my Tiger with the Moog Matriarch. It's connected to a mixer that has spring reverbs and an analog chorus, stuff like that, and that together makes the sound. Now I know what you're saying, you could do that with software. True, I'll tell you this. So I had a guy one time, he asked me about a beat that I made. He said, yo, that bass, what did you use to make that synth bass sound? So I was like, well, first it came out of the Tiger, it went into the Matriarch, I used the Matriarch filters. Then it went into my mixer. I further EQ'd it. Then ran from the mixer into the tape. I went into the tape a little hot. And then it came out of the tape back into the MPC. And you should see the look on his face. It was almost as if like he was defeated. And at first it kind of, took me back a little bit because I kind of was wondering why he was looking like that. But I understand why he was looking like that, because he was asking me, most people will ask you because they want to copy that sound. They want to get that sound. So he thought it was going to be as simple as saying, oh, I use such and such plugin. I mean, sure, you could get a software version of all the things that I used and combine them and try to get my sound, but let's be honest, it's just not going to happen, because each gear adds a flavor, adds a stamp on it that you're just not going to get on software or any other equipment, because this is a collection of my personal gear. So you know how like they say now with AI music that there's a noise in the music that they can detect saying that this song came from AI. They put a noise in there on purpose. Now, we can't hear it, but it is there. That's kind of how I feel like my stamp on my sound. It's not really necessarily something that you would distinctly hear, but it's there. One of my sayings are, this is a universe, not just a synthesizer. And what I mean by that is, when you're using gear, it puts you in a certain universe or state that helps you or influences you to create certain kinds of music. I never would have made this beat on VSTs, on a DAW. I never would have made that. You know, using the combination of things to get my sound and the way I make it. Like when I came into the studio, I didn't know what kind of beat I was gonna make, to be honest. But after messing with the Matriarch, and I forgot, in using like Labyrinth sequencer on one of the oscillators, you know, I came up with something unique, and they twisted the sound and the oscillators and the filters and the delay and just the way I twisted it. I never would have done that with VSTs. It just wouldn't have happened that way. So I think having the gear and the knobs and the cables and everything, it just invites you to explore. And my style is, I'm not afraid to make a bad sound. You know, people try to just, try to make a hit record every time you come in here. And it's like, no, I come here and I experiment, I'm curious. And having the gear allows you to do that for sure. You don't have to have gear to make good music, but it's so much fun. I think that I would have stopped making music years ago if I just had to use software. I don't know if I would be still making music. So if you made it this far in the video and you like what you're hearing, you like what I'm doing, I'm gonna be doing a lot more things and making these machines sing. So like, follow me, comment, and I'll see you on the next video.